Hey guys, I often get questions about which SFTs I should buy as a new player, and I've made a couple other lists, but I wanted to make a definitive list here because a lot of people ask about it. So here are the top 5 SFTs that I would recommend new players buy if they wanted to spend money on the game or if they want to just accumulate flour over time and then buy a boost on the marketplace. I'm going to do 5, essentially 5, and then a couple honorable mentions. So first and foremost is Nancy. Nancy is probably just the best boost in the game for the price. It's currently at 92 flour, and it's a minus 15% crop growth time for all crops. This includes greenhouse crops and every crop that can grow on in the regular crop plots. It's such a strong boost. The reason why it's so cheap is because there's 17,000 of them. This is probably the first boost that I would recommend people buy. Next up, we have the Observatory. This is also same thing, pretty large supply, not quite as big as Nancy, but 5,000. It's not a huge boost, 5% experience, but that's going to add up a ton over time. And XP boosts are strong because they multiply with each other. A lot of other boosts don't. So, for example, like if you have Easter Bunny, it's a 20% boost, but then another boost is Pablo the Bunny, wherever he is 0.1 carat. So they don't multiply off each other because Easter Bunny's percent boost and Pablo is a flat boost. But all the experience boosts are percent boosts besides the cheese boost, but forget about him. Almost all the XP boosts are multiplicative with each other. So getting a 5% experience boost, it multiplies with the munching mastery skill over here. So getting both of them together makes them even better, the skill. So Observatory is a boost that everyone's going to want at some point just because it's pretty cheap and it just makes all of your other XP boosts just stronger. Then next up we have Lunar Calendar. Lunar Calendar isn't quite as strong as Nancy, and it's more expensive because the supply is lower, but once again, it's a crop production growth time for all your crops, greenhouse included, very strong boost, pretty cheap because of the supply. Next up we have Tiki Totem. Tiki Totem it's not that strong of a boost, it's only 0.1 wood, but wood is a good thing for basically everyone to farm right now because of how cheap coins are. So because coins are cheap, it means that you can get wood for cheap because the only thing you need to get wood are coins. So it's a good way of turning coins into flour, into resources, and especially on the starter islands where you won't be able to sell anything on the first island, and there's gonna be a large tax on the second island. You're gonna need to get resources yourself. So getting Tiki Totem and getting some wood is very important early on because it's a good way to get all those coins into wood, which can then be either used to expand or you can sell it for flour so you can buy other things. And then next up we have two boosts. I'm just including them together because they're basically the same and they're very similar prices. It's Chicory and Desert Rose. They actually have very similar supplies. I'm surprised the price is even closer together, but they both give a 10% chance of +1 flowers on your flower beds, and they both work independently of each other. So if you have both of these, you can in theory get 3 flowers from one flower bed. Everyone's going to be planting flowers, and these are just going to add up over time. I value a flower at about 0.5 flower, like the token. So each flower is worth about 0.5 flower per day it takes to grow, give or take. So it would only take like 40 flower procs on one of these to pay for itself, give or take. So these are incredibly strong boosts, in my opinion, and they're pretty cheap because of their large supply. And now we'll go to the honorable mentions. And for the honorable mentions, I have a few of them. So first, I'm just going to say one of the beavers. So there's 3 beavers in the game, and they don't stack with each other. There's Woody the Beaver, Apprentice Beaver, and Foreman Beaver. Obviously, Foreman Beaver is crazy expensive, so forget him. But Woody the Beaver, same idea as Tiki Totem. It's a good way to turn your coins into wood, which can be sold or used. It's a bit more expensive than the Tiki Totem, but it's quite a strong boost, 20% wood. It stacks with the skill that multiplies how many wood you get. Where is it? Skills, this skill. So if you have the 20% boost and you get 3 times, then you would get 3.6 times. There aren't many skills that multiply with SFTs or other things, but that is one of them. And then the reason why I say beavers is because if you don't have a ton of money or don't have a ton of flour, Woody the Beaver is pretty good. But Apprentice Beaver is incredibly strong. Minus 50% tree recovery time. It essentially means you'll be able to chop your wood twice as much throughout the day. So it's an incredibly strong boost. And yeah, like I said, if you have Apprentice Beaver, Woody the Beaver no longer works. Next we have Grain Grinder. And the reason why I put Grain Grinder here is because it's a multiplicative experience boost, like the Observatory. And cakes, especially lemon cheesecake right now, is incredibly strong. I didn't include this in my top 5 because it's pretty expensive now, but it's an incredibly strong boost to have. 20% cake experience. If you're making lemon cheesecakes, then this is going to be a boost that you really want to have because it's going to add up a ton over time, especially with the other multiplicative experience boosts. And next we have Crimstone Armor. And the reason why I included Crimstone Armor is because it's pretty easy currently to make Crimstone profitable. If you go to your skills and you grab Fire Kist, and then you have the default +2 every 5th mining, and then you grab Crimstone Armor, then it's actually pretty easy to make Crimstone profitable. And this is a pretty cheap boost. This is about 90 flour. If we go look at Crimstone Hammer, which is +2 on the 5th mine, so that's 0.4 on average. This is almost $1,000, whereas 0.1, which is only a quarter as strong, is like, what, 1/100th of the price or something like that? Not quite, but like, you get what I mean? It's a quarter as strong, but 1/100th of the price. It's a very good value in my opinion. Once again, pretty high supply, that's why it's so cheap. And next we have Scarecrow. And I could have kind of included this with Nancy, but it's significantly more expensive than Nancy. It doesn't work. Nancy will no longer work if you have Scarecrow, but this is just a 20% crop yield across all crops, once again, including greenhouse. It's a very strong boost to have. And yeah, I think Nancy's better because it's so much cheaper, but Scarecrow is very good for the price too, in my opinion still. And then finally, I just said cheap crop boosts. So if you're gonna focus on a crop, you could get like a bunch of different carrot boosts. You can get Easter Bunny, you can get Pablo the Bunny, you can get the Carrot Amulet down here, or you could grab a 20% pumpkin boost with Victoria's Sisters. You could grab Eggplant Onesie, Purple Trail, Obi with the minus eggplant growth time, or you get increased sunflowers here. Like, there's just a ton of cheap crop boosts because a lot of these were made a long time ago and they have really high supplies. You can see 46,000 here, 4,500 almost there. The Carrot Amulet was 5,000. Eggplant Onesie is 5,000. Purple Trail is 6,000. Obi is 2,600. If you look at like the new boosts, like this is Ladybug Suit. This isn't a strong boost, but this is the one from last chapter. There's only 700 of them. Or like, especially like the more expensive boosts. What came out recently? We could see, where is it? Grape Brandy came out a few chapters ago. Like, there's only like 500 of this. That's just an example. Grape Pants came out around the same time, 500. So like, before there were thousands of some of these NFTs, SFTs, whatever, and now there just aren't that many anymore. Like, this is a pretty old one at this point. These are pretty old ones. So like, a lot of these cheaper ones are just cheap because of their high supply. They just don't, when they mint new SFTs, they just don't have these kind of super high supplies anymore. So a large supply will make an item a lot cheaper in the game. And just because it's cheap does not mean it's bad. It usually just means there's a high supply of it. So that's something to note as well, is that check the supply on these SFTs. If there's a high supply, it usually means it's undervalued just because there's so many of them. But yeah, that's my list. Let me know if you have any comments in the comment section below, and have a good day, guys. Please consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't yet. It would help me out a lot. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below. Have a good day, guys.